Hello, Efren. Welcome to our virtual start of cyber forensics investigation.
Good morning, Professor. Thank you.
How are you doing?
I'm doing well. I've been taking two other classes. This will be my last summer one.
Yeah, you guys in the summer classes. We're gonna cram you with a lot of work and hopefully you get it done. But this class, I'm gonna try and make it interesting because I'm gonna be in and out the whole summer with all kinds of things going on. But um, I as you see in the in Halo, there's a lot of assignments. Usually in this class, I will combine a lot of them because a lot of them are writing assignments, but we'll talk about that in a little bit. As a matter of fact, this first week you have like four assignments. Basically, um, just to give you a heads up before I get into the lecture, it's all about digital evidence, so and how it's important. So I will highlight exactly what I want you to do for all four assignments. So no panic necessary. Since I'm going to be out all week, and we're probably going to just review most of what the requirements are. But anyway, let's get on to the lecture um, very quickly. So thank you. I'm going to try and satisfy all your seat time and teach you a lot about cyber forensics, which is just to let you know, it's changing quite a bit in the landscape of AI and all that as far as evidence. And we're going to talk about that. That's outside of the scope of the curriculum. So we are going to talk about that during the process. And we will actually talk about some trials that I participated in as a forensic, um, um, what do we call it, expert witness. But anyway, let's move ahead. So welcome, welcome, welcome. Make sure you finish the two little discussion questions and class introductions. Just, I know you both have, I think, already. So I do have to grade those, or at least give you a participation credit for those. So, and the summer goes very quickly. So just get everything done. You know, I know you're a good student. So before we move forward, just a brief introduction. I know, well, I know Nate. He he bared with me through another class, but um, Efren, do I know you? I mean, I think I do. Your name sounds familiar, but let's just do some brief introductions. So go ahead, whoever wants to go first.
Yeah, I can go first. I took you with, I think it was ITT 340.
Yes.
I think that's the class, but yeah, that was the only other one.
Okay.
Um, but yeah, my name is Ephraim. I'm from California. I am gonna be a senior in the fall, and I'm taking a summer class because I'm doing like the summer accelerator program
Right.
where your summer housing is free and all that if you
Right.
take at least two of your major courses. So
Good for
that's
you.
kind of it. Yeah, I did a minor to my degree, so I kind of needed to take classes in the summer.
Right. All right. Thank you. Nate.
Hello, I am Nathan. I have been in, I think, just one of your classes, but yeah, looking forward to getting done here in December. That's when I'm supposed to graduate. This is Hazel.
Okay.
Doing, she's hanging out.
All right. Cool. Are you both in the capstone for the fall?
I
One semester?
believe, I don't know which one they got me in, the online or the in-person one, but I was going to talk to you about that when I saw you. So.
Are you expecting to graduate in the spring or
In
you said
December.
December?
So
So yeah,
yeah,
you'll be in the one semester capstone, Efren as well. So yeah,
I I'm supposed to graduate in the spring, so I think I had mine split up December
okay.
and spring.
Okay, so you'll be in the two semesters. So yeah, we're trying to stop the one semester one, but I do have quite a few students that are still wanting to graduate in December. We're changing the whole model. As a matter of fact, the cyber program is we're launching the new one finally. So you'll hear about some of the new courses. or some of the revisions. So
Do you
I,
happen to know? Do you happen to know if the projects were selected yet?
I know some of them were not, um, many of them will be industry facing. Um, and others, well, in the one semester, we figured that out ourselves. Um,
Oh, okay.
so just stand by. I just usually have the students put together a proposal, either based on
Yeah.
something they've done, or I do create a lot of flexibility there, so I wouldn't
I
worry about
had
it too much.
I submitted mine. I didn't know if you saw it, but yeah.
Yeah,
I was
did you fill out that form that
yeah,
Professor Russell sent out? Yeah.
yeah.
Usually we will be voting on these or reviewing them um, sometime into July, 1st of August. So you'll hear it, and then basically I will illustrate, what projects will be accepted, et cetera. So, but once again, the single semester is going to be ran quite a bit different than the full
Okay.
academic year. So, hello, Micah. Thanks for joining us. I do apologize for the virtual class meeting. Um, I, I, I was hoping that everyone would read announcements, but students don't read announcements. But um, yes, this first week I'm in Chicago at a conference speaking on AI and cyber. So we're gonna just kind of wing it for the first week. Forensics, this class is very hard to teach over the summer because there's a lot that we want you to accomplish and there's a lot to learn, but we'll fit it all in. So don't worry. Um, and I have a lot of in-class exercises. And with that being said, we will probably more than likely meet in the Cyber Center and use the CCE laptops for some of the tools. So stand by for that. And we're going to go over that a little bit more um, next week. And next week we will be meeting in the CCE and talking about what we've done with the laptops. As a matter of fact, all of the major tools are on those laptops. So anyway, stand by for that, as I said. And Micah, why don't you introduce yourself a little, give us a kind of a brief who you are, why are you crazy enough to take a summer class? And yeah, I've had all of you in class before, so go ahead if you're there.
Hear
Micah?
me?
Nope. If you're speaking, we can't hear you.
Hear me now?
Can you guys hear him?
It was very faint.
All right, we'll let you work on your mic issues and we'll come back to that. But um, just to illustrate for participation, just finish those discussion posts because we're virtual and both today and Thursday, that's going to be what I'm going to award you points. As you know, I use the Kahoot tool a lot for the quizzes. We are going to be quizzing a few times, maybe once a week. Mostly, you're not going to have a Kahoot today, but so don't worry. Um, the good thing about the Kahoot, as you know, when I like to run them, I like to give you rewards based on some of the assignments that are repetitive. But I do want you to pay attention to some of the little lessons that are incorporated on forensics, on digital evidence, and chain of custody, all of these very important aspects that you need to know. Um, as far as Discord, we really don't have, I usually suggest that we create a Discord channel. That's strictly up to you all as students. You can always join the CCE Discord. There's always a lot in there. From this class, 375, all the iterations, some of the tools, some of the scripts, all the other things. So Discord is always, you all know what Discord is, right? I'm pretty sure you do. All right, as far as the course, and I'm just going to go, this is usually what I do for an intro. Digital forensics or cyber forensics, whichever way you want to refer to it, is truly an important part of cybersecurity. Um, I will have basically every week or every lecture, there'll be several hands-on activities So as a forensic specialist, if you're interested in that field, it's all about handling evidence and creating reports that are usable in a trial or even usable in an investigation. So remember that. All of the components that you've learned in cyber, scanning networks, scanning infrastructures, scanning endpoints, et cetera, are a very important part of the whole digital forensics journey. So that's a kind of my brief description of what digital forensics or this class is going to cover for the next 7 weeks. All right. We do have a textbook. Don't worry about it. I'm not going to use it as much. It's useful. It's a guide to digital forensics. All of the tools, as I said before, you can. Unfortunately, they're not all free anymore. And don't pay for any of the tools. Everything that we will use as far as resources will either be held within those CCE laptops, or you can use like Wireshark or something like that. But we'll get to that as we get into more of the context of the course. So CCE is our lab. I'm mentioning this because I'm going to try and steer you all up there to finish most of the work. Now you can download some. Okay, there's a couple of caveats here. If you're running a Windows system, all of these tools will work on Windows in its own manner, but I don't recommend it. Linux is the best OS. It doesn't have to be Kali. The CCE laptops are Ubuntu, and we've had a special distro built just so this class can be accommodated from those laptops. So please prepare yourself for that. And yes, we will have a brief walkthrough next week with Joe on some of the tools on there, like Imager, Autopsy, and all that. And the thing of it is, just to let you know, because I've done a little bit of research on this, with AI now, a lot of these tools are being simulated in different ways. And as I said before, we're going to talk about some of that as we navigate through the course. As far as virtual machines, we used to require that you use VirtualBox or VMware. It's not required. That's only an option for you if you feel like you want to set up a VM. It is important, and hopefully you all know how to do this. The problem with VirtualBox, the support mechanisms are scaled or are sketchy and scaled to a certain degree. How many of you have you all done VirtualBox before as far as a VM? Nate,
Yes, I
Michael?
have.
If you've done VirtualBox and you can download a VM without any issue, I do support that, and it will help you with that. If you have not or have not had success with that, we're going to primarily stay on a Linux OS or Linux distro for the tools because it's the best environment. Let's see, Mike. Okay, I need to pay attention to the chat as well. So VirtualBox is an option, but not absolutely required. But I definitely suggest not running any of the tools on a Windows or even a Mac for that matter. All right. All right, let me do a quick intro into digital forensics. And this will be specifically centered around digital evidence, which is the crux, mostly of what you'll be dealing with in this class, handling digital evidence. You probably don't know this, but I would say now, as opposed to 10 years ago, about 90% of the evidence presented in trials that have become useful and usable have come from digital devices, smartphones, computers, cloud instances, et cetera, containers, all a part of the digital evidence arena. So with that, I'm just going to introduce you very quickly to a concept map. And a concept map is just a graphical way of organizing, the representation of your digital evidence and your knowledge. I don't want you to, I am going to require that you read about it a little bit, but don't get inundated with trying to incorporate, I don't know what to do with the video pane. Anyway, they'll have concept maps. Have you all heard of concept maps before? Yes, no? It's just
No.
It's just a way of organizing your thoughts onto something that's visible and tangible. It usually looks something like this, and it's used quite a bit because this is how lawyers and digital investigators think. If you can organize your thoughts in this way as far as an approach to an investigation and make it visible like this, then everyone's happy. Even the judges are happy if you can show something like this, as opposed to bringing out representative files, etc. So usually that's where the usefulness of a concept map comes in. All right, so that's one of your first assignments. Just do a little bit of research. As far as we will have somewhat of a writing assignment, and I mentioned this before, your first assignment for this week is just putting all those assignments together. Well, I'll talk about that and create kind of a summary. How would you handle digital evidence? And you're all, okay, I forgot to ask, you're all cyber, right? You're all cyber, BS in cyber or IT cyber, right? As far as your degree. Yep.
Yeah, I'm inside.
So forensics, you will, as a cyber professional, you will definitely run into some version of digital forensics, whether it's just dealing with capturing evidence, et cetera, or just handling or being part of a chain of custody, but recovering, limitations, access, all of that, especially if you're a SOC analyst, you will definitely be asked to be, a professional witness. So in essence, I do want to say that the biggest part of digital forensics is, dealing with the forensics evidence as a part of an investigation. And there's a concept map, and you can review these. I'll post the lecture and the video and announcements. So basically, since digital evidence is so important, there's some very basic questions, and you all should be taking a note of this, that you're asked that come down from the legal team or whatever. When did the event occur? Where did victims and suspects meet? And I don't know if you've all walked through it. If you've been in 340, if you walked through the undercover exercise, that's all about. Do y'all know what I'm talking about? I mean, I know we do it in 307 and 340. But anyway, it's just a way of figuring out how to use, digital evidence as far as an investigation. So with whom do they communicate? What are the intentions of the suspects? So whenever someone's indicted or at least arrested under suspicion, some of those questions are definitely at the forefront. So you're asking yourself, what is digital evidence? So of course, it's deleted files and file fragments, timelines and activities, clipboard data, web browsing history, printed documents, malware, emails, etc. Everything is digitized now. You all know that. So everything can be represented. As a matter of fact, we will talk about mobile devices, smartphones, and all that, IoTs, and everything that's out there now that can be construed as a conduit to digital evidence itself. All right. So as a forensic specialist on the digitized side, you're going to be tasked to recover specific things that will add to a trial. This field has become so specified now. There are specific cyber lawyers that know exactly what digitized evidence is. So they will be asking you specifically to follow all of their guidelines, et cetera. So digital media. So recovery limitations, I guess I'm leading into now. So if someone tries to physically destroy the digital media, or they're trying to securely encrypt it or override it or delete it, all of that's a part of the limitations on digital evidence. Sorry. So as the investigator or part of the investigative team, so these are some of the things that you will have to recover or make available as far as a a part of the digital evidence, hibernation files, temp files, deleted files, browsing caches, Windows registry, and you all know what that is, and then log files on the cyber side. All are a huge part of the digital evidence. Of course, the naysayers always try to delete, and you all know that deleting files is not deleting files. Everything is recoverable. And we will learn there's a couple tools out there now that makes it easy to recover anything as long as it's not physically destroyed. And even when it is physically destroyed, I don't know if you're watching any of the shows out there, some of that is pretty realistic. Most of the individuals that piece things together are these forensics teams that will spend hours and hours and hours. So, all right. Here's another concept map that's looking into documentation. I mention this because documentation is an integral part of all of this. Everything has to be documented. Everything has to follow the chain of custody. We're going to talk about that some, but and speaking of the chain of custody, we'll go into chain of custody in detail because that's so important. It's just basically documenting the way the evidence is handled. And it begins with the evidentiary materials. Basically, if it's evidence, seized evidence, it has to be documented, date and time stamped, and who did it, and how they did it, how it was performed. So if you do get a chance as a part of this class, just do some general research on chain of custody in the digital forensics realms. It is so important. Any compromise of the chain of custody compromises not just the specific evidence, but probably, and in most cases, the whole trial or the whole investigation. Once again, documentation is a very important part of it. And you always need to essentially make everything that you do accountable as far as how it's documented. I'm not going to read through all of these slides. All right. So here, I'm going to get to the crux because I'm not going to keep you guys really long, especially this whole virtual. All right. So the assignment this week is a writing assignment. And as I said before, so if we bring up Halo, I'll do this let's just take a look at Halo first here. You have these 4 writing assignments for this week, and so please make a note of what I'm wanting you to do. And you can read through the details description. So you have acquiring and handling and analyzing digital evidence. So the designing the ultimate digital forensic lab, don't worry about that one, but that's basically we're going to put together, or I want you to primarily say that we have specific laptops, forensic laptops that we're going to use, which has specific tools to handle digital evidence. And then everything else is essentially highlighting the importance of digital evidence, and then why do we need a digital forensics. So what I want you to do, and please make a note of this, you're going to create one document. I'm, as you all know me, I'm not worried about word count. I'm not going to say 1,000 words or whatever, but you're going to provide an aspect of each of these components, including, well, the ultimate digital forensic lab. I mean, if you want to be an overachiever, you can basically highlight the fact that we want to use some type of Linux distro, use the tools that will primarily work very well in a Linux environment. We can handle files and just about everything from that perspective. So each of these assignments are kind of they should create kind of 4 main areas, all in one document. And it does not have to be extensive, but I do want you to take a look at the description of each of the assignments and then just provide a paragraph, a couple sentences to a paragraph. Does that make sense to everyone? It'll give you kind of a start on researching. And I don't necessarily think this should be 4 major. If you look in there, there's specific word counts, etc. But create one document with 4 areas, and then you're going to submit it to each of the assignment portals. Does that make sense? Thumbs up. Confusing? Right, so
I
that's
got it.
that's what I'm looking for these assignments this week. And yes, they are due on Sunday, and that's generally the case. And I'll tell you right now, there's a lot of assignments. And when we're in the CCE, I'll have you run through a couple of the scenarios, and basically going to be screenshots and submitting those to make sure you understand, what you've been able to accomplish. But this week, just a brief writing assignment that handles these four components. And I think that's what I'm alluding to in my little. And this is being recorded, and I'll post it, and also post the lectures, as I said. So, all right. All right, specifically, oh, I thought I changed this. Hold on. That should be June. And Saturday or Sunday is the 28th, right? All right, I'm not even going to worry about this slide. All right, so forget that slide. And I'll add a slide that will point to each of the four assignments. Just I'll summarize what I just said as far as what the requirements are as far as the deliverables. All right. All right, so that's kind of the gist of the lecture material. Do you guys have any questions or comments? Let me get out of share here. And we have a couple more individuals in the class, but I will make sure that I will message them to ensure that they at least review this very brief lecture. And what I'm going to do on Thursday, I'll just walk through the components, give you an example of what I'm looking for as far as assignment. And then we'll just prep and talk about what we're going to do next week. That's my plan. And so once again, please plan to meet in the CCE, not whatever our room is. I think it's in 57. What's our designated room for this class? Probably people are in there now. Let's see, where are we? All right, who knows the room number?
I think it's 204. I could be wrong, but I think it's something like that.
It's on my schedule. Let me just make sure I have, yeah, 57204. So we probably won't meet in 57204 a lot, maybe once or twice if there's something going on in the CCE. I would like to meet mostly in the CCE and have you set that up as your workspace, because you have all morning with this class, and I do want you to work on some of these. Once we get into some of the handling digital evidence side of it, I do want you to work on these with the tools that we have in the CCE, if you like. Of course, if you want to go another route, please let me know. Like if you want to work on VirtualBox and a Linux distro, or even Windows, if you're crazy enough, that's fine with me. But so that being said, my plan is for this class, since this is our first meeting, a lot of hands-on activities. And then we will actually walk through, the last part of the class is walking through a trial with specific parameters. And basically, I'm going to ask all five of you to work as a team to put together a report on the evidence. And that's going to be primarily the last week, or maybe even two, just working on this digital evidence that it's an educational website that's out there that I use for this class. And I usually have a mock trial, but we don't have time to do that. So just prepare yourself for that. So generally every week in this adventure, a lot of activities, a lot of things that we're going to do in class, in the CCE, where I'm going to ask you just to create screenshots and submit it in an assignment. And there's primarily, I think this first assignment is probably the only one that's going to be a truly kind of a writing assignment. And I'm not looking for an essay. I'm just wanting you all to research these particular components again. Let me just reiterate by sharing my screen again. So just so we understand, sometimes I go so fast, I forget to make myself clear enough, if that makes sense. But I don't want this to be a drudgery. I mean, we're in the summer mode anyway, and I do know that where's my good old Zoom? All right. And while I'm doing this, any questions from anyone?
None here.
None? All right. I don't need the screen share. Let me just do that. Just so you know what's going on. All right. Can we see my screen with Halo?
Yeah.
All right.
I can see it.
So just to reiterate, we have 4 assignments due. I see these as one. It's our only, probably our one and only writing assignment. What I want you to do is take a look at each of the components or each of the descriptions of these assignments, from acquiring and handling digital evidence, designing the lab. I don't want you to spend a whole lot of time there. There are some particular components if you want to research that talks about protecting your information, protecting your infrastructure, et cetera, making sure everything is secure. You can talk about that some. And then digital evidence, identifying digital evidence. I talked about some of that. I'm going to talk about a little bit more of that on Thursday. And then essentially, you can probably use AI. Plug in a prompt, say, why is digital forensics important? And I'm okay with that. I'm okay with you using AI in these writing assignments, as long as you provide your prompts with your results. That's my only ask there. So once again, this is just a basic college level writing assignment based on those 4 particular topics. Does that make sense?
Yes.
And we're going to start our adventure that way, just kind of to make sure to get you in the class. Well, all of you have taken first session classes, haven't you? Right?
Yes.
So you're doing this accelerated thing because you want to get out of GCU faster. But anyway, so that's essentially all that I'm going to cover for this first lecture. And I do want to tell you that I'm not planning on going 4 hours. I do want you to do the work, and you can do them in class or out of class. And we will have a couple more virtual sessions because I have a couple more conferences that I'm attending. But other than that, we're going to do a lot of in-class work because that's what digital forensics is all about, and evidence handling. Learning those tools, and I will begin to introduce some of the tools on Thursday virtually. So we will meet again on Thursday virtually. I'm in my hotel room because I'm prepping for a session this afternoon. And then next week we will meet on Tuesday in the CCE, first thing in the morning. We're going to go over some of the tools that are on those laptops, and we're going to talk about essentially what is your choice of putting together some of these exercises, because I have quite a few. And that's the gist of the course, a lot of these hands-on activities and exercises. And then ultimately at the end of the course, we'll have this kind of mock investigation / trial where you all have to present the evidence. Does that make sense? Okay.
Makes sense.
Okay, last chance. Any questions? Comments? I know you all want the whole class to be virtual, don't you?
No.
We can't do that. We have to be in person, so especially with this topic. Cute there, Nate. All right. So with that being said, once again, I do apologize for forcing you all to do the virtual thing right away. This was not planned. Actually, I was not planning on teaching over the summer, but they wanted me to teach this class because we have 5 students. Now that doesn't match Nate with the halo there. All right. So we will meet again 8 o'clock on Thursday and talk about a few more things. Begin to work on your writing assignment, please. And if you have any questions, yes, please send me a message or an email. A couple people have messaged me already, but that's for 490. All right. Thank you. I will see you all on Thursday.
Have a good day.
Have a good day. And I'll post the lecture and the video recording. Take care, guys.
Thank you, Professor.
Yeah.